He came to America chasing a dream, but all he found were closed doors and cold stares. At a high-end restaurant, an Indian migrant waiter humbly served his guests, but one man saw him as less than human. The insult started quietly, a smirk, a snide remark, until humiliation was served in front of everyone. But fate has a way of turning the tables. Years later, when their paths crossed again, the power dynamic had completely changed. What happens when the humiliated becomes the one in control? Keep watching. This is a story karma wrote itself. Ravi had always believed in hard work. Back home in India, his family had little, but they had dreams. When he got a chance to work at an upscale American restaurant, he thought it was his ticket to a better life. Every evening, he tied his apron, straightened his posture, and served guests with quiet dignity. Most barely noticed him, just another face in the background. But tonight felt different. A man at table 7 smirked as Ravi approached, eyes cold with something unspoken. He hadn't even taken their order yet, but the tension had already begun. Ravi balanced the tray carefully as he approached table 7. The man, a wealthy regular named Carter, leaned back in his chair, tapping his fingers impatiently. Ravi kept his head down, placing the plates in front of him and his guests. But before he could step away, Carter scoffed. "You people never get it right, do you?" he muttered, just loud enough for everyone to hear. Ravi hesitated. He had double-checked the order. It was correct. "Sir, is there a problem?" he asked, keeping his voice calm. Carter smirked, tilting his glass of wine in slow circles. "The problem? You!" His friends chuckled. "What, don't they teach manners where you're from? Or do you just take orders like a good little servant?" Heat rushed to Ravi's face. He could feel the stares from other tables, some curious, some uncomfortable. His manager, standing near the bar, didn't intervene. "I apologize if—" Ravi started, but Carter cut him off. "Apologize? No, no. I want to know something," Carter said, leaning forward. "How does it feel to come to my country and still be nothing?" Ravi's throat tightened. He had faced prejudice before, but never this openly, this cruelly. His hands clenched at his sides, but he didn't move. He couldn't. Carter laughed, enjoying the attention. "See, that's the problem. People like you come here thinking you matter, but you don't." He snapped his fingers. "Now, take this back and bring me a fresh plate. I don't want anything touched by those hands." Silence hung in the air. Ravi could hear his own heartbeat, loud and fast. His manager looked away. No one spoke up. Ravi stood frozen, his knuckles white as he gripped the tray. The restaurant had fallen into a suffocating silence. Carter leaned back, a smirk tugging at the corners of his mouth, waiting, expecting Ravi to shrink. But then a deep voice broke through the tension. "Excuse me, sir," a man at the neighboring table said, standing up. He was tall, sharply dressed, and unmistakably powerful, the kind of man who commanded attention. "I couldn't help but overhear. You said your country?" His tone was calm, but there was an unmistakable edge beneath it. Carter frowned. "And who the hell are you?" The man pulled a sleek business card from his pocket and placed it on the table between them. Carter's face paled as he read the name. Raj Patel, CEO. Ravi's breath caught in his throat. Everyone in the room knew that name, the billionaire tech mogul, one of the most influential men in the industry. And he was standing up for him. "You see," Raj continued, tapping the card, "this country belongs to people like Ravi. People who work hard, who build, who make it better. While men like you," his eyes locked onto Carter, "sit back and belittle them, thinking your privilege makes you superior." A murmur spread through the restaurant. Phones discreetly lifted, recording. Carter's confidence wavered. "And if you believe a man's worth is measured by his job," Raj said, straightening his suit, "then let me remind you, Ravi here? He's more of a man than you'll ever be." Carter opened his mouth, but nothing came out. He grabbed his coat, his arrogance crumbling under the weight of a room no longer willing to ignore him. He stormed toward the exit, leaving behind the very power he thought he owned. Ravi's hands trembled, but not from fear this time. It was something else, something stronger. For the first time, he didn't feel invisible. And as he met Raj's gaze, a single thought echoed in his mind. Maybe the world was finally changing. Ravi stood there, his heart still pounding as the restaurant slowly returned to life. But something had shifted. For the first time, he wasn't just the invisible worker in the background. People were looking at him, not with pity, but with respect. Raj Patel placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You don't have to take that from anyone," he said softly. "Never again." That night, Ravi walked home different. The humiliation still burned, but so did something else. A quiet determination. He had spent years swallowing his pride, believing that staying silent was the safest choice. But today had proved something. His voice mattered, and the world was starting to listen. The next morning, the incident had gone viral. Clips of Carter's outburst, Raj's powerful response, and Ravi's quiet resilience flooded social media. Thousands of people spoke out. Immigrants, workers, dreamers, each sharing their own stories of being dismissed, belittled, or made to feel less than. Carter's reputation crumbled overnight. His company issued a public statement, distancing themselves from his behavior. He had spent years believing power meant owning others, but in the end, his arrogance had cost him everything. And Ravi? He wasn't just a waiter anymore. Offers poured in. People wanted to help, to uplift him, to recognize his worth. But more than that, he had inspired something greater. A conversation. Because this wasn't just about one racist man in a restaurant. It was about a system, a mindset, a history that kept repeating itself. The question was, how many more times before the world finally learns? And when that day comes, whose side will you be on? Enjoyed this story? Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring tales. Let's spread the message of hope and unity together. Thanks, and take care.